All signs point to this, as the Los Angeles Lakers have had an extremely busy NBA trade deadline. This major report could very well put the Lakers over the top and be the cherry on top for what is a historic NBA trade deadline and acquisitions for your Lakers. And welcome to Lakers Digest here, guys. My name is Hunter Pitcoff. We cover everything surrounding your Los Angeles Lakers. We have breaking news, not only about what's going on in the NBA, but what's going on with our channel. We just reached 10,000 subscribers. We had 5,000 subscribers on January 26th, the 5-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's passing, and that was a big accomplishment to reach 5K. But in 10 days, because of you guys, we have reached 10,000 subscribers, a milestone for not only us, but everybody here. You're all part of the community here on Lakers Digest. And with that being said, since so many of you guys have been flooding our channel, showing us some love, that means a lot of you guys, almost 90% of you, are not subscribed. So if you want to help us get to whatever the next number might be, 11,000, 15,000, 20,000, a million, I don't even know at this point, stop what you're doing right now. Just hit that subscribe button before we get into today's video here. The Lakers are sniffing out the buyout market. Now, of course, we know what they did in acquiring talent via trade. They, back in what I call the pre-trade deadline in December, they got Dorian Finney-Smith from the Brooklyn Nets. Then they bring over Luka Doncic in a massive deal that sent Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick to Dallas, as well as Jalen Hood-Schifino and a second-round pick to the Utah Jazz here. But now we have another big trade as well. We've covered extensively here, but Mark Williams will be the future center for your Los Angeles Lakers, as the Lakers send out Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, a 2031 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap to the Charlotte Hornets for, of course, the big man, Mark Williams, and we'll keep talking about the impact he will have on the Lakers here. But the one thing I do want to focus on this trade is that the Lakers traded 2 players in exchange for 1 player. What does that mean? Well, that opens up a roster spot for the Los Angeles Lakers, and therefore now they most likely will try to fill that roster spot with 1 more player as they load up on a new regime led by Luka Doncic and LeBron James. And that's definitely some exciting stuff. And the question is, who do they target? Who's going to be available? We'll break down all those options throughout the coming days, throughout the coming hours here on Lakers Digest. So definitely stay tuned, tap in, click the subscribe button, like I said, so you can keep up to date with everything there. But let's talk about one player in particular who I actually think would be a phenomenal fit, and that we have a major update on that surrounds your Los Angeles Lakers. So that player is going to be none other than not only a good fit for the roster, a perfect fit, arguably, if you want to say, but he's also a former teammate of Luka Doncic here. So here's the report we have, as I always screw up my graphics here. Andy Larson, he covers the Utah Jazz for the Salt Lake City Tribune. He says that the Jazz will waive Josh Richardson and Jalen Hood-Schifino, and they will keep KJ Martin from today's deal. So the Utah Jazz were very, very busy getting a whole lot of draft picks, because this is a team, of course, that is trying to tank. They're not trying to win a whole lot of games, taking on some bad contracts. They even helped facilitate the Luka Doncic trade. I'm sure Danny Ainge was probably ready to throw up in a bucket after finding out that he was doing the Lakers a solid as a former Celtics executive and a former Celtic player as well. I definitely don't think he'd love to hear that. But, you know, this is good news for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, they're probably not going to bring back Jalen Hood-Schifino. That would be a little bit awkward. But Josh Richardson, someone who played with Luka Doncic, averaged 30 minutes a game as well as 12 points per game in the 2020-2021 season. So I guess the first official full season, because it wasn't 82 games after the bubble. So, or after COVID started, I should really say. So this is someone who is familiar with Luka Doncic. He knows how to play under him. Of course, they have Dorian Finney-Smith, who they coincidentally have also been teammates with Luka Doncic, but they didn't make that trade when Luka was on the team. They also have Maxi Kleber. They got Markieff Morris. So they got some guys here who are familiar. I mean, JJ Redick was actually a teammate of Luka Doncic as well. And Mark Williams is the perfect center to complement Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. So what does that mean? We also know, too, that the Lakers front office and JJ Redick went to Luka and go, what kind of players do you like to play with? Who you want to surround with? That's why they got Mark Williams, because Luka likes to have that vertical lob threat like a Mark Williams on the offense. So you also know he likes 3-and-D players, and that is what Josh Richardson brings to the Los Angeles Lakers in the event they sign him. So let's look at what he's been doing this season. And we're also going to add context to these numbers as well. Because if you look at this is pretty doo-doo. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Of course, he's 6'5", 31 years old. Long wingspan. But the numbers are not very, very impressive. And that is going to bring us into our next point here. Because you're like, all right, Hunter, like, I know Josh Richardson. He typically puts up better numbers than that. This is somebody who has had a respectable NBA career, has made stops in Miami, where he's known for, Boston. He's been with the New Orleans Pelicans. He was with the Detroit Pistons this year, Spurs. So why exactly is Josh Richardson really not doing a whole lot this season? So there is a bit of buyer's remorse when it comes to Josh Richardson and the the Los Angeles Lakers, and whoever, in fact, actually goes after him. And this is why. So, God, I messed up these graphics today. So, Josh Richardson, who this report came out before the trade, is dealing with a right heel inflammation. He was currently listed questionable for the game, I guess that happened yesterday with the Sixers. But it is actually good that he's listed as questionable, not doubtful, now out. And here's why. Because he's been out since November. He's only played in 8 games this year. And so that is your buyer's remorse. You're betting on the talent, you're betting on the skill set, and you're betting on the comfortability with Luka Doncic. But at the same time, though, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you're also betting on a guy who's hurt and has not played since November. I mean, that is, at this point, guys, I think November 18th around then was his last game. So he hasn't played in almost 3 full months. And so bringing in a guy like that is definitely a massive risk. And clearly some of the Pistons were fine to get rid of in that deal. So that is definitely going to be a major red flag and a major concern. But at the same time, guys, the Lakers have one more roster spot available. It's also worth mentioning, too, guys, that the Los Angeles Lakers, since they are first apron salary cap team, what does that mean? It means that the Lakers cannot get a buyout player whose contract was more than the mid-level exception this year. The mid-level exception this year was $12.8 million. So if a player gets bought out, they would have to make less annually than that number. Josh Richardson does that. If someone like Bruce Brown gets bought out, he's making about $20-ish million a year. That's going to be too much for the Lakers. I've heard Dennis Schroeder's name get thrown out. That would be too much for the Lakers. So those are guys that they physically cannot get because they make too much money before the buyout. And the Lakers are not allowed to do that under the new collective bargaining agreement. But Josh Richardson does not fall under that umbrella. And Luka is comfortable with him. This is someone who, you're getting a new player in a new city, and bringing in guys who he knows how they play is only going to help him. Luka Doncic is your future face of the franchise. And while the Lakers, I think, are pretty set with their 9-man rotation at this point, it's good to have depth. And you lost Cam Reddish. You lost Dalton Knecht. Well, perhaps Josh Richardson isn't the shooter of Dalton, but he can shoot the ball a little bit. He's a career 36% three-point shooter. He's not quite the defender and doesn't have quite the size of Cam Reddish, but he can defend, and he is a 3-and-D-ish type of player. So I think this is somebody, if he is healthy, and the Lakers, he checks out medically for them, this could be a really, really good target. And all signs could be pointing to this, that Josh Richardson is perhaps your next Laker player to be added at the final roster spot. And again, guys, we just reached 10,000 subscribers literally right before I started doing this video and clicked that record button. So I am extremely fortunate. Our co-host Nick Goss and Okechi Apakama, they're extremely fortunate. Everyone here at Lakers Digest, and it's not just us, it's you guys too. You got us to 10,000 subscribers, not us. We put out the content, but we don't, have a growing channel without the growing support. And I don't mean to be cliche. I do really appreciate it, guys. And let's keep that number growing. This is an exciting time to be a Laker fan. Luka Doncic coming in with all these big, massive trades. And, guys, there's also a game. Like these games are going to happen. Luka's going to be back soon. Mark Williams, we're going to see what he's made of and this new Lakers roster. So if you want to keep up with everything up to date surrounding your Los Angeles Lakers and you like what you're watching, stop what you're doing right now. Click that subscribe button. It don't cost a dime. Come reach this platinum status. And this bandwagon, it's about to get off soon. So get your ticket now. Hop on the bandwagon. Click that subscribe button to keep up with everything surrounding your Los Angeles Lakers here on Lakers Digest.